If you want to know what a man's like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. Of course, it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean that it is not real? To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living, and above all, those who live without love. The truth. Dumbledore sighed. It is a beautiful and terrible thing, and should therefore be treated with great caution. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it. Just because you have the emotional range of a teaspoon doesn't mean we all have. We're all human, aren't we? Every human life is worth the same and worth saving. Indifference and neglect often do much more damage than outright dislike. Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure. We are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. He can run faster than Severus Snape confronted with shampoo. It is the unknown we fear when we look upon death and darkness, nothing more. Percy wouldn't notice a joke if it danced naked in front of him wearing one of Dobby's hats. Books are like mirrors. If a fool looks in, you cannot expect a genius to look out. You know, Minister, I disagree with Dumbledore on many counts, but you cannot deny he's got style. Let us step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. Dumbledore says people find it far easier to forgive others for being wrong than being right. I don't believe in the kind of magic in my books, but I do believe something very magical can happen when you read a good book. Things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end, if not always in the way we expect. Holy, you have the whole world of ear-related humor before you. You go for holy. Understanding is the first step to acceptance, and only with acceptance can there be recovery. Yeah, Quirrell was a great teacher. There was just that minor drawback of him having Lord Voldemort sticking out of the back of his head. It is my belief that the truth is generally preferable to lies. Of all the trees we could have hit, we had to get one that hits back. Youth cannot know how age thinks and feels, but old men are guilty if they forget what it was to be young. Happiness can be found, even in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light. Honestly, if you were any slower, you'd be going backward. The scar had not pained Harry for 19 years. All was well. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. You care so much you feel as though you will bleed to death with the pain of it. I'm going to keep going until I succeed or die. Don't think I don't know how this might end. I've known it for years. You think the dead we loved ever truly leave us? You think that we don't recall them more clearly in times of great trouble? To hurt is as human as to breathe. Differences of habit and language are nothing at all if our aims are identical and our hearts are open. Words are, in my not-so-humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic, capable of both inflicting injury and remedying it. There is no good and evil, there is only power, and those too weak to seek it. There's always room for a story that can transport people to another place. If you don't like to read, you haven't found the right book. I mean, you could claim that anything's real if the only basis for believing in it is that nobody's proved it doesn't exist. Time will not slow down when something unpleasant lies ahead. Whether you come back by page or by the big screen, Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home. I enjoyed the meetings too. It was like having friends. What would come, and you would have to meet it when it did. I make mistakes like the next man. In fact, being, forgive me, rather cleverer than most men, my mistakes tend to be correspondingly huger. Curiosity is not a sin, but we should exercise caution with our curiosity. Yes, indeed. First sign of madness, talking to your own head. I can teach you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even put a stopper on death. What's coming will come, and we'll meet it when it does. Hearing voices no one else can hear isn't a good sign, even in the wizarding world. Age is foolish and forgetful when it underestimates youth. We can't choose our fate, but we can choose others. Be careful in knowing that. I'm a wizard, not a baboon brandishing a stick. Destiny is a name often given in retrospect to choices that had dramatic consequences. You fail to recognize that it matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. The ones who love us never really leave us. You can always find them in here. Greatness inspires envy. Envy engenders spite. Spite spawns lies. If he doesn't stop trying to save your life, he's going to kill you. We must try not to sink beneath our anguish, Harry, but battle on. Some wounds run too deep for the healing. Always the innocent are the first victims. So it has been for ages past, so it is now. Whatever happens to your body, your soul will survive, untouched. Contemplating the task ahead would not make it easier or the water warmer. The trouble is, humans do have a knack of choosing precisely those things that are worst for them. It is impossible to manufacture or imitate love. Clever as I am, I remain just as big a fool as anyone else. No story lives unless someone wants to listen. So thank you, all of you. Only the difference between truth and lies, courage and cowardice. In dreams, we enter a world that's entirely our own. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Imperfect understanding is often more dangerous than ignorance. It's tough to live with people stuck in the past, isn't it? Bravery doesn't forgive stupidity. Always think what's possible. Nothing more or less than the deepest, most desperate desire of our hearts. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. Nothing like a nighttime stroll to give you ideas. There will be books written about Harry. Every child in the world will know his name.